What are 5 ways to find out if a used car was badly maintained? Hello everyone and welcome to Cynical Car Guy presented by Mömus. We are makers of stuff for car guys and we've got my project Country Mark V GTI here. And we're gonna look at some things that are telltale signs and secret hidden top tips that will tell you if a car was badly maintained or not. So come along, we'll take a look at the paint first. So last time we talked about how to see if a car was well maintained. And in fact, after this car broke down, I didn't maintain it at all. I didn't care for it, and it spent also a lot of time in stores outside. This is like perfect time to see, now that it's back inside, to see these things that will tell you if a car was badly maintained, if a car was maybe abandoned for a while, or if it was sitting for a long while. For example, these stone chips, and all the stone chips in the front of here that come from faster driving on the highway, for example, or driving on gritty roads, they have gone rusting because they go through the clear coat and the base coat is not a protective coat, and then you get these rust bubbles. Also, I wiped the car down a couple times whilst it was in storage just to take the dust off, that type of thing, but I didn't give it a full wash. So there are now a lot of swirl marks on here. Lot of swirl marks. So also, if you're looking at an older car to buy, for example, and it still has these window washer nozzles here, if the previous owner was not caring too much about maintenance and wanted to cheap out, probably used a homemade or very cheap window wash, and then you see these drips running in your paint, like it's actually a wet drip on top, but it's baked into, that's these cheap chemicals that are baking into your paint and make this damage mark. Perfect example here, like I also pointed out with the BMW, if these kind of edges are not cleaned, rust will form underneath. Like look at this bubbling here. That happens because all this moss and dirt sets in there, but the oxygen can still get to it too. So all the moisture and the oxygen are having a party, and then BAM! That happens. If the previous owner, like me, didn't care too much about the car because it broke down or whatever, then you can also feel the window wipers, you know. There are a lot of things, of course, that you can replace, but these are these kind of small details that are often overseen, and like these are totally dried out and they feel like, yeah, like that. When rubber loses the softener because of standing in the sun, it feels gritty, and this is exactly how that feels. Next up are the tires. Beautiful example because we already took the fender off, and as you can see, it's wearing winter tires in September. So winter tires for the wrong season. Again, one of these points. I put these cheapies on because I used the nicer summer wheels for another purpose, and now you can see it's wearing this cheap normal golf wheels with just on winter tires. Even better is, from all the standing, one of the tires actually has a canvas brake. Maybe it was low pressure or something, has a canvas brake and has a bubble on it. Let's take a look. I hope this comes across, but as you can see, there's a bubble here in the canvas, like the canvas has broken on the inside, and now there's a bubble in the rubber where it's bulging out. Totally undrivable, will never be used on the road again, but that's one of these signs, you know, that the tires are totally overused. Another thing that you should really check if you're looking at a used car is the age of the tires. I mean, tires might have a good amount of profile still on it, even though they're 10 years old. If the car is never used, then the tires will look, wow, so fresh. But actually we can see the age here. This is kind of the standard way of showing it. Usually it's in some kind of oval, and then there's 4 numbers. The first 2 are for the week of production, and the second 2 are the year of production. So this is the 17th week of 2012, and as you can see, they're only 5 years old, but they're already worthless. So the 10-year rule is not even applicable. You have to really check all the tires and the sidewalls. Are there no weird bulges? Are there no weird repairs or things like that? Also, since we're here, you can have a look at the brakes. Now, as you can see, like I said, this car spent some time in the storage outside, and the brakes are like beyond usable. These are totally rusted away. But if you have some kind of shady cellar, takes the car for a quick drive just to break the rust off, and then cleans, for example, the front of the wheel to get rid of the look. A good way to see if the brakes were rusty is to feel the top. Usually the top feels then very crusty and like, how would you explain it? Like you're touching, so it would feel very crusty, right? And if that then looks shiny, you can still put your hand in between, behind the spokes, and give it a good rub there. If they come back brown after after the rust was braked off, this would be all brown in here. That's a way to tell if your brakes are good or bad. So because the BMW has been our love child, my love child especially, for the last 6 or more months, this one was really second priority, last priority really. And all the things that I pointed out that were signs of being well taken care of on the BMW are things that I can point out here that are so badly taken care of here. I really didn't maintain this car. I spent a lot of time outside and I didn't really care for it. So here, for example, on the roof, I came back one day just to check on the car, and the sunroof had apparently developed a leak and the car was soaked inside. We're talking this much water on the carpet. And if you see this type of thing, I mean sunroof or tape really, or zip ties as well, anywhere on the car, it's time to walk away if you want to buy it, if you're looking to buy it. Tape and zip ties are not things to repair a car with. They're, you know, like, it's just no, don't do it. Anyway, like I said, last priority car, last priority caring for, and I put tape on this. But much more interesting is how the carpets look like. Let's have a look. Oh, another example before we opened. Door rubbers, if they look like this, that's probably not a car that's been, I mean, look at this. That's just, look at the moss and the mold and all the dirt, man. Literally, the water was up to this level, man. And it came down from the sunroof. There are these small drains in the sunroof that apparently got clogged just from sitting outside. And the complete car was like drenched. Also had the problem that a lot of moisture was then evaporating once the sun hit, and the moisture is in everything. Pulled these caps from under the car when I saw it, and then the water finally came out, and then we put it inside, but as you can see it was too late. The reason I'm telling you this is because I have actually been to cars for sale where I pulled the overmat. It looked like this from underneath, but the top was painted with a spray can black again, just to look like there was nothing going on, you know. But usually the smell will tell you enough, I hope, as long as they don't put this perfume and other things. But really, lift the carpet, lift the overmats, take a look under there. If it looks like this, the car is a no. Also, you can see, for example, in the dials, do you see that ring of moisture that's behind them? The moisture has gone everywhere. Really, it's not worth it if the car was soaked, or even with small leakage, it's probably no longer worth it. So I actually tried to save the interior. The seats are actually quite cool in this. They have this pattern, GTI pattern. And I tried to save the interior from getting mold everywhere with putting cat litter. That was like a quite good thing to do, because the mold actually is only in the carpet and there are some water damage here and there, but it's really not bad for a car that was soaked. And we're talking like the water was about to come out of the doors. As you can see, this door has a lot of damage from opening it into things. I hate it when it happens to my car, when someone puts a nice door ding in it, and it actually worried me a lot as well when I was going to buy the car. Luckily the previous owner told me that it was his mom that did that, and once he found out, he didn't let her drive it anymore. So yeah, that's actually one of these things as well that you can look at. If the previous owner is one of these people that throws his door into other cars or into pillars or I don't know what, he just doesn't care about the car. I mean, look what happens here. It's terrible. So a little bit the opposite of our BMW, right? I showed you everything there that were good signs when you're going to buy a used car, and these are all the, like, I really neglected this car the last year, and there were a lot of exactly the opposite on the BMW. A lot of very bad signs here. I'm not going to show you under the hood because, as you can see, it is our project car. It's bad under here, everything is taken apart, so there's no big need to talk about it. But if you're going to check a used car and you see maybe dried up oil stains, or you see points in the engine bay that were cleaned but the rest is not, then maybe those are telltale signs and you should do some more investigation. If you look under the oil cap and there's some mayonnaise, or there looks like there was bad condensation in the oil, that's also one of these signs that the engine is not doing well. But that's a whole different ballgame, that's a whole different subject. Here were just some top tips, quick top tips to show you if a car was neglected or not. So, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.